Representation is a common conversation in the world of media, but neurodiversity is often excluded from that conversation. The BBC states that approximately 1 in 7 people will have some form of condition linked to neurodiversity. Representation has increased in recent years, but there's still a lot of work to be done, and the best place to start is with the people that it impacts most.
I would like to see more representation of ADHD specifically, where it's not just, the hyperactive inattentiveness. There needs to be a lot more to do with all aspects of the neurodivergency, and even many others that are equally as important to be represented, because it is important for people who have them to not feel like they're completely different and alone. Because it is something that if you aren't aware that it happens to other people, you do feel like you're the only one who feels or thinks that way.
Has the way neurodivergent people are represented in popular media changed the way that people perceive and act around you in the real world?
Yes, when I tell people, I'm quite open about my diagnosis. When I tell people that I have ADHD, the first thing they always say is, like, oh, so you can't sit down, or you can't sit still, or stuff along those lines. And yes, I can't, but there's a lot more to it than just that. I think that there needs to be a wider scope of representation, especially just like within the symptoms. The same 3 symptoms on each disorder are repeated non-stop, and you get the bad representation when, especially if those aren't great traits that happen to be portrayed.
There's other sides to it that are a lot difficult. There's also the low energy side that really affects me a lot. You fluctuate between the two. It's not always just hyperactive. There's the other side to it too.
When I enjoy something, I get really involved with it. As soon as I find something that I really want to do, it's really easy. I will spend hours and hours researching. I will learn everything I can about that subject, and it becomes something that I will always know and be pretty good at. I really also find being neurodivergent is a divergence from neurotypical. You think differently. I really enjoy being able to think very differently, and it is unique, and I think it's pretty fun. It's quite nice.
Everything that we are doing in the Disability Collective is making sure that everyone is involved and included in the very diverse range of what disability means. And as well, that includes making sure I'm maintaining the social media and keeping everyone active through there.
What are your thoughts on neurodivergent representation in media?
In recent years, there has been a bit of a push to try and be doing it better, but a lot of takes on neurodivergence in media have really been quite regressive, infantilizing, degrading, and even in the better representations, that still comes through, where people think we're not quite as capable as everyone else, or that we need to be babied, or that we don't have the same intelligence range. And of course, it's called a spectrum for a reason, and there is often a lot of overlap between developmental disability and autism. But even so, we are still capable of a lot.
How do you think that neurodivergent media has shaped people's views on neurodivergent people?
We are infantilized, that we aren't capable of making the intelligent decisions that neurotypical people are capable of making. And of course, neurodiversity exists on a spectrum, particularly within the autism spectrum. There are a lot of different ways in which people might think. But that doesn't mean that it's appropriate for people to be taking these ideas from media that we just can't think the way normal people can think.